Got it.
Hi everybody, and welcome to the Marshall Monday. This week we're doing University of Southampton. As you'll see, different venue for me. I'm in my car today, not driving, definitely not driving. So I'm only going to be here for the beginning because I'm just doing an introduction. It's my nephew's birthday today, so I am going to go back to his party with just us. Anyway, thank you very much for coming. Really excited to hear from the University of Southampton today. One of my favourites, of course, like all our partners. I hope you'll enjoy learning all about it. So I'll just hand over to Zoe. Thank you very much.
Hi Mary, thank you very much for that introduction. You get back to that party. Now I'm just going to share my screen, and while I do that I'll introduce myself. I'm Zoe Carroll and I'm part of the International Office here at Southampton. I do hope you can now see my screen. Perhaps Sarah can do thumbs up. Fabulous. So I'll just start the slideshow. So I support our scholarships and funding students at University of Southampton, and I'm joined by my colleague Sian Steggles, who is Regional Recruitment Manager for the Americas, and together we'll kick off this session with a quick overview of, well, more of a whistle-stop tour of the research strengths here at Southampton, and in particular some of the programmes that will be of interest to postgraduate applicants. We're also really lucky to have Jake and Amanda on the line, two of our lovely US scholars, and they will share some insights into what it's like to study here with us at Southampton. We've then allowed some time for Q&A. So we do encourage you to type any questions as they come to you into the comments or chat box. Sian will be taking a look at those and we'll answer as many of those as we can. That will take us to about the halfway point. And then we're delighted to have Dr. Devorah Baum with us. And Devorah heads up our postgraduate English programmes. She's also attached to our Parks Institute for the Study of Jewish, Non-Jewish Relations. And she's going to share some of her research interests into the role that humour can play in politics. So that's just a little overview of what we're going to be offering you in the next hour. So yeah, I do hope you enjoy, and I'm going to crack straight on. Wish you were here? Well, we certainly do. Of course, we were very much hoping to host a NAFA study tour this summer, and our campus is looking gorgeous. So where are we? Well, we're in Southampton, which is on the sunny south coast of the UK, and we're just an hour and 20-minute train ride from London. In the area, we've got the New Forest, we've got the Isle of Wight, a short ferry ride away, and we've got the Dorset coast, so lots of interest locally. And the city of Southampton itself is a port city, and the university is a campus-based university, about 20-minute bus ride from the centre of town. And as you can see there, we've got a lovely green campus, lots of open space around us, and the campus is looking beautiful. We had the sunniest May on record here in the UK. And so, yeah, we're really pleased and looking forward to reopening our campus in September, where we hope to offer a blended teaching and learning experience for our new and returning students. We had some good news last week that we've gone up to 90th in the QS World Rankings. And really this reflects the fact that we're a research intensive university, and also really focused on delivering high quality teaching experience to all our students. So we're 17th in the UK in the Complete University Guide, and there's some other rankings there for you. Of course, it's a very strange time at the moment. I mentioned we're looking forward to welcoming students back to campus in September. Like everyone in higher education sector, our academic and student communities have been scrambling to support efforts to get this virus under control. And here's just a few snapshots of the research and efforts going on around our university. Everything from developing a new drug treatment trial to diagnostic testing and a respirator, so a new personal protective equipment for staff in the hospitals. And we're also particularly proud of our third-year nursing and physiotherapy students, many of whom finished their final year early so that they could join staff at the hospitals on the front line. So the university is a broad-based university, so we do offer a very wide range of programmes, more than 300 at postgraduate level. And one of those faculties is our medicine faculty. And I've just picked out a few programmes here. We have a very successful public health programme. And last year's Fulbright Scholar studied the MSc in Global Health with us. And this is a real success story for the interdisciplinary nature of our programmes and research. It's actually hosted within our social sciences faculty and is kind of taken by a mix of clinical and non-clinical staff. We also have some specialist programmes in our medicine faculty, such as genomics and our MSc in allergy, which has been awarded a World Centre for Excellence and is one of only 2 in the world with that status. Southampton is also very well known for the STEM subject areas, and I'll just pick up a few areas from our engineering and physical sciences faculty. Southampton's often known as a hub for photonics, and it's where Sir David Payne invented fibre optic technology, which is what's enabling us to have this Zoom call right now. It's the technology that enables that fast speed internet connection. We also have the Institute for Sound and Vibration Research, and next year's Fulbrighter will be studying acoustical engineering with us. Pictured here, bottom left, you can see an anechoic chamber, which is, oh gosh, this is where my technical knowledge fails me. It's a fascinating tour you can do of the chamber, and it really reduces the vibrations to allow them to take more accurate sound readings. But you can find out for yourself. This year's actually the year of sound, and so our department has provided a tour of their facilities and some really other interesting videos, which I'll share the link to at the end. And thirdly, I just wanted to highlight our Web Science Institute, which has produced some excellent academics, including Sir Tim Berners-Lee and Dame Wendy Hall, who between them were pivotal in inventing the World Wide Web. And they offer 7 postgraduate programmes, including cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. When I spoke at the NAFA conference last year, I was asked to provide a fun fact about Southampton. So continuing that theme, Southampton, home of the Spitfire. And that's been front of my mind recently because last month in the UK we had the 75th anniversary of Victory Europe Day. So the Spitfire, that iconic World War II fighter plane, was produced here on the outskirts of Southampton during the war. And Southampton, the city, as well as us, the university, has really strong ties with the military and is leading within the UK for military education. You can see pictured here the Thunderer Air Force Squadron, and we host all 4 military education squadrons on campus, as well as some prestigious scholarships with our US counterparts, the West Point and the US Naval Academy. We have a wind tunnel facility which is regularly used by industry, including Formula One, pictured here. And that wind tunnel is named after the Spitfire, so that's a nice little link back to our heritage. It's the R.J. Mitchell wind tunnel, and R.J. Mitchell was the engineer who designed the Spitfire. And perhaps a better known fact about Southampton as a port city is that it's home to the Queen Mary II cruise ship. At one point it was the largest cruise ship in the world. I'm not sure it retains that title, but that it regularly makes the trip between Southampton and New York, because of course Southampton is home to the National Oceanography Centre, and pictured top right left here you can see our waterfront campus. So I mentioned we have strengths across a range of disciplines, and that includes ocean and earth sciences and all kinds of marine disciplines, including ship sciences, maritime and archaeology. And these all come together under the Southampton Marine and Maritime Institute. And you'll hear from Amanda in a little while, who is currently studying our MSc in Oceanography programme. A few other highlights from across our social sciences, arts and humanities and environmental life sciences programmes. Just wanted to highlight really our Centre for Population Change, which hosts the largest group of demographers in the UK. Also, I mentioned the maritime archaeology. Our professors have been involved in some very high profile projects over the years, such as the Mary Rose, where they led a team that actually raised an Elizabethan ship from the seabed, and you can now see it in its museum in Portsmouth. Just 10 miles up the road, we have Winchester, the former capital of the UK. Winchester is also home to Winchester School of Arts, which is part of the University of Southampton. And there you can take a range of arts programmes, including textile design and fashion. And finally, I just wanted to flag from our arts and humanities programmes, we have a specialist interest programme in Jane Austen studies, where we partner with Chawton House, the birthplace of Jane Austen. I know that's a very popular programme. I think that's enough for me for now. So I'm going to hand over to our first scholar, Jake. Jake is our US Naval Academy Scholar this year, and we're really pleased that he could join us. Jake, if I just mute myself and stop sharing my screen, perhaps you could introduce yourself and share a bit about your year with us here in Southampton.
Of course, thank you for the introduction. As previously said, I am Jake BAKKEDAHL. Before I attended the United States Naval Academy, Maryland, and majored in ocean engineering. Wanting kind of a more broad experience, I came over here on a scholarship and spent the last year pursuing a master's of science in energy and sustainability. Really been focusing on the sustainable design of cities, everything from looking at buildings to renewable energy technologies. So it's been very broad, and which has been probably one of my favorite aspects is how much different topics I've got to learn about and go into certain amounts of detail. My favorite part really has been the composition of my class I'm in has students ranging from Canada, Mexico, to China, to Libya, to France, to Australia. I mean, almost every country it seems like. And so it's really been really neat, been really eye-opening, and the curriculum has been hands-on. The professors have been phenomenal. So it's been really neat in that aspect, because I feel like I've certainly taken a lot of way and learned a lot about leadership, even more than I learned back in the United States at my university. So it's been a really cool experience, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, even though it's been a little bit of a different second semester, but I'm sure things are going to start to get back to normal. So I know if you end up coming to University of Southampton next year, you'll certainly have a blast like I have. So I think that's kind of it, and I'm sure we'll answer questions at the end, but now I'm going to pass it over to Amanda, who is the current Fulbright Scholar at the University of Southampton. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. As he said, my name is Amanda Ciroli. I'm originally from North Carolina in the United States, and I went to the University of North Carolina at Wilmington and pursued a bachelor's degree in physics before I came here to Southampton. Here in Southampton, as I said, I am the current Fulbright scholar, and I'm studying oceanography. And echoing Jake's comments, my favorite part about this program is the interdisciplinary nature and how diverse our course mates and our professors are. They're literally world leading in their fields and all across the world. It's amazing to gather their perspectives and thoughts on the field. Being in oceanography, studying ocean sciences, I spend most of my time down at the National Oceanography Center, which is the waterfront campus, and it's actually absolutely a lovely building, and it definitely. I'm going to say it's definitely a great stress relief at times to just look out over at the harbor and enjoy the scenic views. It's definitely a view. As for Southampton, I'm really pleased with how easy it is to get around. It's such it feels like a safe city. Like, I come from a small town, and the ease of walking or riding public transport or biking to any of the campuses is just amazing, and such a beautiful place. Yeah, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Zoe and Sean for questions.
Thank you so much for that, Amanda and Jake. That was really insightful to listen to. So for all of the attendees we have on the call, if you do have any questions, either based on Zoe's presentation or based on Amanda and Jake, please do feel free to put them in the chat. But in the meantime, I've got a couple of kind of questions it would be good to pick your brains on. I do apologise, there's some very noisy traffic just coming up my road. So I mean, the first question would be, and I think this kind of goes to both of you really, is did you notice any major changes in terms of academic kind of setup or culture based on your kind of degree in the US versus coming to the UK? Of course, a master's always looks a little bit different, but was there anything that stood out to you about it from an academic kind of cultural perspective? And I'll address that to Amanda first, and then I'll come to you, Jake. Well, Amanda, you're on mute. Oh, there you go.
Yes. What I noticed more was that there's a lot more independent study here, and what I mean by that is in the US we usually have homework or assignments that we work on after every class or course that we have, but here you're presented with material and then research and resources and stuff to help yourself learn, I guess, learn more about the material. So it's not more just graded assignments, it's more independent study and reading, and you get to choose what aspects you kind of want to focus on in that way. So that was the main academic difference that I found.
Okay, thank you. And Jake?
I would agree with Amanda. That's been really neat, is how it's not a lot of homework. It's more assignments, and within those assignments you would have an essay to write about, but you'd have 3 or 4 different topics, so you could easily gear it towards something that you found interesting. And also, I came from a military academy, so I guess in that aspect, it's been a complete 180. You don't have to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. It's a lot more, I think, very kind of approachable. So it's a very encouraging environment a lot of the time. So I think that's probably just my experience. So it's kind of interesting.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we've got a few questions now coming in from our advisors. So I've got a question for you, Amanda. What are you doing for community engagement, and does that activity align with what you proposed in your Fulbright application?
Right. So back home as well, I've been heavily involved with the Rotary clubs in the community. So I've been reaching out here. There's many across the city, and the university has been trying to set up a Rotaract club, which is in its process, and then this COVID hasn't really helped us. Yeah, so I've mainly just been working with the Rotary clubs and talking with them. Other than that, I have joined a couple of societies, and some of them have some social outings too, so I have interacted with to other students and other community members as well.
That's great, thank you. And then a question for Jake, which I've just seen, and I'm just going to have to scroll up. There it is. So Jake, can you tell us a little bit about the courses you're studying within the degree and why you chose Southampton for energy and sustainability?
Of course. So the cool thing about the Southampton Energy and Sustainability program is each semester you're going to take 4 separate modules. But within them, there's a couple optional modules, and that was something I didn't find in a lot of the other universities throughout throughout England. And also, this was kind of Southampton was a scholarship I was offered, so I certainly went with that. But in terms of courses, there was everything from waste management to bioenergy to sustainable design in a city, and so really every single aspect was really covered. I mean, we wrote essays about oil and the downfall of oil and why solar panels are the next big thing. Or another project that was really cool and neat that we got to do was we got to build an island where we had to come up with everything about how we would design the buildings to take into account the temperatures and the rain, the humidity, the climate. So it's really just been very neat, very wide and diverse, which I think has been amazing.
Great, thank you. Okay, so we've got a couple of questions regarding programs. So in terms of our public health programs, yes, so we have an MSc in public health, and it actually has optional pathways where you can specialize within that. So those optional pathways are nutrition, intelligence, and global health and management. And obviously all of those pathways would have a big research project culminating at the end of it. But really the good thing about these masters is they're very, very much tailored to the students' interests. So they are comprising quite heavily of optional modules. So those range on things like epidemiology, demography, health geography, and medical and health subjects. So as Zoe pointed out at the beginning, a lot of these medical programs are quite interdisciplinary in the fact that they do cross over with social sciences. And then related to that, yes, there is PhD programs within social sciences and population health. That would be what you'd be looking at if you're looking at those types of PhDs. And certainly I am cognizant of time here, but we would be very, very happy to follow up with a little bit more detail on the research opportunities within those programs in particular. So we can send around a link to a catalogue of those degrees, and you would be very welcome to explore those and come back to us if you have any questions. Let me just see if we have any that I have missed. I think that is all of them. And again, we can talk a little bit more about the research as well. We just have one more come in here. So, and these are for Amanda. Amanda, could you talk a little bit about your Fulbright application process? And then a question related to that is, did you establish an affiliation during your application? And if so, how did that relationship develop? Bit of a meaty question for you.
Yes. See if I can think back to the application.
Feels like another life now, doesn't it?
It does. Right. So for the application process, I know for us, we had to be nominated by our school. So our school had, or I guess my university there, had a Fulbright representative or delegate that helped process and I guess helped potential applicants go through the process and fill out the forms and everything like that, and tailor their application to the best that they can. I remember, so actually my school got hit by a hurricane during the middle of the process, so we got sent to Zoom as well. But through with it, the university also had a Zoom interview to nominate, or to find out more about the applicant, and to decide who to nominate to the Fulbright Commission. And then once things are submitted to the Fulbright Commission, it's kind of just the long wait game, and you wait for someone to contact you to see if you've made it to the next round. And after that, there's another, most likely, internet interview, and then again, a long wait until someone gives you a decision. In terms of affiliation, I did not have an affiliation before I applied. I did a lot of research into what was required before deciding to apply, and with Southampton, and I think with England, the US-UK Fulbright program, it's not absolutely necessary to have an affiliation before you apply, but it is definitely helpful to have one. So I did not have one, but my university also has a partnership, an undergraduate partnership here. So I was in contact with someone else, but I did not put them as an affiliation on my application.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That was really, really useful. So I'm going to close the Q&A then formally.